It's the Anthony TTG rolling once again with that BTW Bishop taking up the whole screen. Got myself Nicky the Good, and we have the Meat Pop Express. And boy, to be another jam-packed episode for you today, and it is the return. We were out a few weeks, Ben. We took 2 weeks off, guys. Listen, consistency is king. I get it. I know how the algorithms work, but listen, you boys, we had some things to do. I was traveling. I was gone the whole week, and Ben, he was doing his things. We're gonna get a little bit into that as to why we had to take a little dip in the action. But listen, back to business, because the time is here, Ben. It has arrived. The war on the shore. We are battle ready next week, July 16th. It's a Tuesday, brother. We're going to be there, Ben.
We have been promoting this show for months now, and it is finally here. Finally here, 1 week away, a little over a week away. War on the shore. We can't wait. You're welcome, Tommy D, Chris Payne, Dave Sturcho. You're welcome. You're welcome. We had to sell. I mean, how many tickets do you think we sold? Maybe I'd be surprised at less 1,000, maybe.
Probably
take a few, probably 1,000, 2,000, just because of us. But folks, if you're in the New Jersey area and you got nothing to do on a Tuesday, I know a lot of you wrestling fans, you don't work, you don't do much. Why don't you just get out,
Sure.
get some sun, get a few drinks in you, socialize a little bit. With the public. Martell's Tiki Bar, July 16th. Doors open. The doors open at 5.
Yep.
Pretty early. Doors open at 5. Show starts at 7. A lot of great matches. We got 8 really good matches on the card. Matt Cardona's going to be there. Unfortunately, not wrestling. But other Mike Santana, Joey Janela, Steph DeLander, Lady Frost. It's a great card. Great card, of course. Obviously, your boys will be there. Big Trouble and Nicky the Good will also be there.
Yep.
And I don't know why you wouldn't be there. Why you wouldn't show up? If you're in New Jersey, you're close to the Point Pleasant area. Hell, if you're in Pennsylvania or you're in New York, come on down. Come on down. It's gonna be an awesome night, and you get to meet us in person. You're gonna get to see how large I am.
Yes,
in person.
And I will show you. I will show
how
you
large Nick's personality is.
Yes, and my ego.
Yeah,
we're gonna be there, man. We're gonna be setting up. We're gonna be doing some interviews too. I'm gonna be messing up with the fans. I'm not a trained wrestler, so you probably won't see me in the ring unless someone gets out of fucking line and I have to take it to their face, on Ben's shoulders. But listen, let's talk about a little bit of pro wrestling. Actually, let's talk actual pro wrestling. Pro wrestling that we're going to be involved in, me through osmosis. But Ben, we got another update from you. What the fuck
we
is
do.
going on?
Don't we? The phone finally rang, Nick.
Ring, motherfucker.
Finally, someone came to their senses at one of these big companies, and they said, I think BTWB, I think that guy is made for TV. And so, on Friday night, 10 p.m., on TNT, the people that know drama and they know Big Trouble brings the drama. Oh, Big Trouble. Ben Bishop is going to be on Rampage. AEW Rampage at 10 p.m. Friday night.
I'm psyched up.
The coveted 10 p.m. time slot.
I'm psyched up. That's a prime time spot.
Sure is. That's prime time.
That is prime time. You could look it up. It's prime time. I'm going to be watching from my beach house in Point Pleasant, New Jersey.
They don't know about
something no one has that is going to be attending the War on the Shore on July 16th at Martell's Tiki Bar, brother. But we're going to be there. I'm so pumped for you, Big Trouble. I'm so excited to watch. But would you say that this is the biggest match of your career?
It's gotta be. It's the biggest stage, right? And that's all that matters. You can have great matches against some really good opponents, but not until you're on the big stage does it count. Not until you're on cable television, bro. This is television.
What rating do you think you're going to pop?
Oh, dude, it's probably going to be one of the highest ratings in recent history on Rampage. I mean, we're seeing the numbers on Twitter. We're seeing the people that are saying, I see it countless. I don't watch this show, but I'm going to watch because you're on it.
Yes.
Oh, you're on it? I didn't even know this was still on. I'm going to watch because you're on it. What? People want Ben. They want Ben. Ben.
And they're going to get Ben.
They're going to get Ben.
And they're going to get Ben.
Don't turn the channel. Ben will be on that hour of AEW Rampage. There's a lot of great matches on that show. But the one you got to focus on is Ben.
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 Yeah, man.
All about Ben.
I'm so excited. I really, really am. I'm so excited to check it out and see you do your thing in front of a worldwide audience, brother. And speaking of,
Worldwide.
we have one more. Listen, we got one more update before we get into the show where we're going to take some of these marks to task and just talk about some things in the world of professional wrestling. Is that wrestling? If you remember, a little under a year ago, I got future endeavored there for reasons that are still the same place as parts unknown because no one understands it because it makes no sense. But I was future endeavored. But as I promised everyone, wrestling will never die. Neither will this show because this show ain't going nowhere. But I will be back working with that big slug that doesn't retweet anything that we do, Brandon fucking Walker. And we got some stuff planned for you, and it's coming up. It's going to be soon. Hashtag see you soon. I will be producing the show. Wrestling will be coming back. And my footprint in professional wrestling will continue to grow, grow, and grow as Ben did through puberty and I did not. So get excited for that. But let's get
this is exciting, Nick. I mean, wrestling did unbelievable numbers.
Yes.
Again, questionable why it was ever canned. We
Multiple
still don't
times.
know. There was no real answers given.
They're still not to this day.
Still not to this day. The people want it. And as much as we rag on BFW and as much as he doesn't give us the credit that we deserve, he does numbers. And we know numbers don't lie.
And my goal.
One thing we ain't liars.
I consider myself the forbidden door of Barstool Sports.
Ooh.
Does that sound good to you? I consider myself the forbidden door because right now I'm on the outside. I don't work for the company, but I am the only guy that can revive that brand. I'm the only guy that can tolerate and work with Brandon Walker in a way to make him the biggest professional wrestling star that interviews people not named Chris Van Vliet. I can do that.
I would put him second to Chris Van Vliet. I'm sorry, Brandon. You're second. You're second.
If he gave us some retweets, we'd make him one. If he gave us some retweets,
he doesn't. Chris does. Chris comes on the show.
Chris gives us retweets all the time. He's a great guy. Way better looking too. Way better.
Well, I mean that's obvious. That's obvious.
That's not even debatable. But yeah, so I'm going to bring it back to its prominence, and the fact is that that's all I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to make sure that show is everything that it should have been and was when I was there.
I can't wait,
and I'm doing it all for the people and also my own personal gain.
It's wild. It's wild. Wrestling without you, because you're the person that steers the ship, gasses up the ship.
Correct.
Does the maintenance on the ship. Does
literally everything.
Everything on the ship besides, and Brandon's just the cruise director.
Correct.
But then when I think about myself when it comes to wrestling, wrestling wouldn't probably have been a thing if it wasn't for me, because that's when Brandon started his whole I'm into wrestling again.
His shtick.
His shtick. He kind of got his shtick from me. So you're welcome, Brandon. If it wasn't for us two, you wouldn't have wrestling, okay?
If he didn't have a psychopath 40-year-old that's willing to do this, it would just not exist. But anyway.
We get it, your talent.
But anyway.
Remember the guys that really, really steer this.
Yeah, remember the little guys and me, and then remember the tall guy. So
exactly.
Let's talk a little bit about wrestling here, though. Okay, so I'm gonna go first. So what we're gonna do this week is we're not gonna go through everything that happened in pro wrestling. You can listen to one of the million shows that do that, and most are, boring. But what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna look at a big tweet that came out this weekend that got me fired up, man. And it was from our boy Dave Meltzer. Now, Dave, I have always said Dave is a historian and I appreciate everything he's done. But one thing that he misses on is this dude, he ain't just calling it down the middle sometimes. And he recently reviewed the Kalani Jordan and Sol Ruka match from NXT Heatwave. And this was the quote. This was a very, very heavily choreographed gymnastics display that was disguised as a wrestling match. Now, we all made the comparisons. Everyone has made the comparisons online about this. I brought up the fact that he would never, ever, ever say this about Will Ospreay. In fact, the women literally took the exact same move set from the Ricochet Will Ospreay match, and they did it. They did the exact same thing those guys did in the ring if you watched it, right? If those two women were Will Ospreay and Ricochet, Dave would never have said that comment. And that's the only issue I really have with it. If you didn't like it, that's fine. It's not my cup of tea, but if you didn't like it, that's fine. Everyone's intended to their personal opinion. But Dave, come on, man, you gotta call it down the middle. What's if you're gonna call one thing gymnastics, you got to call the other. I understand that Osprey is legitimately one of the best in the world. Me and Ben have sung his praises to no end. I understand that Ricochet is one of the best in the world, and we've sung his praises here as well. But you personally, man, you can't be doing this shit. You can't do this stuff anymore. It's not right, and it sure as hell ain't right to the women. Anything big trouble on that?
Yeah. I mean, all I'm saying, we've spoke our piece on Dave. I don't want to continue to just always talk about Dave Meltzer, but that's the biggest. That's he wonders why people have issues with what he says, and people have it. And I don't know if he's cognizant of it or he just does it for clicks. And he's like, I know this is going to get engagement. So
He could be. I don't know.
He could be, and it could be a genius move. And if that's what you're doing, and you don't care about getting ragged on, then all power to you. But I mean, you said it perfectly. You got to call a spade a spade. If you're not going to like that type of wrestling, then, you can't like it for the men and then not like it for the women.
Especially in that case, like you have influence, and those girls have just been wrestling for literally maybe a year. I mean, I don't know how long they've been wrestling. They don't deserve that.
Exactly. That's the unfortunate thing. And people are like, why does Dave have influence? Why does he? And at the end of the day, I don't know why he does. I don't know why he should, but he does. And that's the reality of things. And it's like that in a lot of other sports, and it's like that in movies where the critics a lot of critics have influences in movies, in culinary arts. They have influence. Some of these people that probably shouldn't and can't do anything close to what the people that they're criticizing are doing. But unfortunately, that's the name of the game, and that's what we have. That's what we have to deal with, and that's what people built him up to be, is having an influence in the professional wrestling industry. So, you're right. These girls have only been working for about 2 some odd years. Working matches for about a little over a year. They're young, and they're gonna see this, and the minions are gonna come out, and they're gonna tell them. They're gonna get in their tweet and their mentions.
And those minions sure did, man. There was a lot of quote tweets on that. When you get a lot of quote tweets, that ain't a good thing. Big Trouble, I know you had something you want to talk about with Damian Priest. Hit me with it.
Yeah, speaking of the minions, yeah. So, folks, let me pull back the curtain for a second. Yeah, wrestling scripted, right? Right, guys? Do we know that at this point? Okay, thank you. Let's just start with that. So what happened this weekend at Money in the Bank? I just finally watched it last night and got a chance to go through it and watch it. And I saw what happened with the Damian Priest, Seth Rollins spot with the Falcon Arrow. So unfortunately, Damian Priest did not kick out of the Falcon Arrow, and the ref did not count to 3. So 2 things I have to mention. This one thing that's always kind of taught is that refs are supposed to count to 3. You're supposed to count to 3 no matter what. You're supposed to always just, and that was like always a big, from what I heard, is a big Vince thing. Is that you need to just, Matt, if the guy doesn't kick out, not your fault. Count to 3. In this case, there was a lot of stuff that was happening after that match that needed to happen and needed to be involved with, and it wasn't just a blow off match on a house show or just a blow off match on Raw that didn't really matter, have any implications. There were implications to that match. So the ref, I do not blame the ref one bit for that spot. Now moving on to Damian Priest, guys, professional wrestling. Think about this. Think about a movie. And I mean, I've been on, and I can say this, I haven't been on in movies per se, but I've done commercials, I've done TV shows. When you're doing this, when those happen, there are legitimately, when I did Young Rock, for a 30-second spot, you might do it for at least an hour. At least an hour. Just for 30 seconds of that show is at least an hour of filming. There might be 10 to 20 takes. There's cameras moving around. There's different angles you got to do for just 30 seconds. Folks, professional wrestling, you have one take. You have one take, and anything can go wrong at any moment. From what it looked like, and I don't know exactly, I heard Triple H talk about it. It looked like Damian Priest had some sort of stinger. He couldn't move for a second. He couldn't move his legs. It happens. It's an athletic performance. It's sports-based. Things happen. Okay? For all the people that are saying he's not ready for this moment, or he's not ready to be a champion because the guy got hurt a little bit and unfortunately couldn't kick out of a move at the right time. Get over yourself.
I think he's
What
one
do
of
you
the more
mean?
trusted people on the roster.
He's one of the and they know that. That's the thing is that the people that know wrestling know that. They know what they're watching. But like you see this one thing that happens, and that's the problem with like Twitter is you see this one gif that happens of him just not being able to kick out of a move at the right time because of something that happened. Not because he's blown up, not because he's lazy, not because he forgot to kick out, because he legitimately could not kick out of the move. And these people are ragging on this guy, acting like he's ruined everything. He's ruined wrestling. Guess what? In 2 weeks, no one's going to remember this and no
And he
one's going to
legitimately
care.
looked like he got like he looked
Yeah.
out of it. Like if you look
Yeah.
back at it, it looks like yeah, like
And he's,
like his equilibrium was knocked off or
and,
something like
and
that.
here's the thing, and I'm sure, I am positive a guy like him who's worked, has worked his whole life to get to that stage, 20 years of wrestling, 20 plus years, I'm pretty sure, Damian Priest. Nobody is more mad than him. I'll
Right.
tell
He's
you that
beating
right now.
himself
He
up
he
about it
knows he
nonstop.
is beating himself. He 100%. I don't know the guy. I haven't talked to him, but I know a guy like that who's worked his ass off his whole career to get to that point and have moments like that. He's beating himself up. But again, it wasn't his fault. Something happened. He's a consummate professional. Things happen. Wrestling is one take and one take only, and you got to get it right all the time. And sometimes, you know what? We're human. It doesn't happen right all the time. So relax. Damian Priest is great. He's going to continue to be great. Get off his back.
He's great, man, and he's also had some of the best matches like in recent
Yeah,
WWE
he's
PLEs. He's always
trusted to work
delivered.
everybody.
He's always delivered, and he's a big man doing it all at a high level. On the topic of the Judgment Day, one of the things I want to talk about is like this overrun deal that everyone's freaking out about with how like, first of all, you had like with the whole Dom and the returning of Rhea Ripley and everything like that. So that happened. But here's the deal, guys. What do we talk? Why are we worrying about an overrun with Raw? Like, oh, how did they cut it off the biggest moment? Guys, you could get what happened after. They put it on Twitter literally like within like 5 minutes of it happening. I mean, if you miss the Wyatt Six like promo or the VHS video, it's online within maybe 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Like, relax, you'll be okay. Not to mention, it's an episodic TV show. It's okay to have a cliffhanger and not get everything you want. That's why you tune in the next week. You
Mm-hmm.
can't just get everything you want. In fact, I guarantee you that you would just never be happy. You'd always
Never.
could give you, they could always give you more. They show you what they want to show you. That's the way television works. And also, everyone relax because when they go to Netflix in 2025, you're not going to have this problem, at least for Raw. I even said that online. I'm like, well, when Netflix happens, you won't have this problem. And someone comes on the top, he's like, yeah, well, like Netflix never has streaming issues. I was like, dude, if you just want like negative money, like, I,
No.
I don't know what to tell you,
Is
man. But
it?
I just got to say, man, like everyone's got to relax. Everyone's got to chill out. You're getting one of the best storylines. You had Dom taking a friggin', a header into Liv's, area. You saw that. You guys got to kind of see what that would be like because you never will because you're disgusting. Um, yeah. So yeah, you got to see that. Straddled them again. They almost,
Just
embraced.
living all. You're just living vicariously through
And
Dom,
then
all you
Rhea
guys.
came back looking all sassy and angry. She brought his ass to the back. Now, if you're Dom, man, I got one word of experience, man. It's just like, listen, you just got to eat it, man. You just got to eat it. You just got to say you're sorry. You got to blame Liv. Just make her seem like an absolute psychopath. Tell her she's a psycho you feared for your life. That's what you got to say in order to get out of this mess, dude. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see what it is. I still think the speculation, which I first heard on Sam Roberts many months ago, is I do think that they're going to have, the custody of Dom Mysterio again. I think that's where they're going. I think it's going to happen, and it's going to be hilarious. And who would have thought that Dom would be this big of a star? I didn't see it coming, man. I did not see it. But listen, you
Mm-mm.
make someone a heel, you give them a good gimmick, you put him in jail for a day and a half or 24 hours, whatever it was. And look, a born star that gets booed in every building, and he's a part of the show now. He's a big part of the show. Ben, anything else you want to chat about?
Oh, no, nothing. I mean, on that is again, folks, overrun. Like you're gonna watch next week. You're
Yes.
gonna watch it. You're
You'll
gonna
watch
watch. You're
until
gonna
you're dead.
consume it. You'll be
Until you're
fine.
dead.
You're gonna buy your shirts. You're gonna go to the shows. You're going to. No, not one of you that tweeted or commented on that is just gonna give up because they didn't have an overrun. All right, you'll be all right. You're gonna watch
Yeah.
it next week, and you're gonna get to live vicariously through Dom as he is vied after by two beautiful women. So
And speaking of overrun, speaking of tuning in next week, just as a reminder, War on the Shore, July 16th. We'll be there. It's the big deal. It's the big moment. It's the big show that we've been leading up to all of this time for many months as we have been out promoting everyone under the sun because that's just what we do.
only
And we
ones,
do
the
it
only ones
and we
promoing.
do it the best. As a reminder, Ben will be on Rampage this Friday night, 10 o'clock Eastern time, TNT. Okay, get ready because Ben's going to be there. And, Ben, listen, and this was a good show. I feel positive. We did a lot of promo and we did a lot of politic and we did a lot of putting ourselves over. Can you sign us out with some more positivity,
I
please?
sure can. Folks, always keep it positive, keep it trucking, and keep the shades on because the sun never sets on a cool guy.
Later remarks.